These are my Wobblers. They wobble, but they don't fall over. And they're kind of a fun little play on repurposing materials once again. They're just kind of delightful looking and they're fun to play with. And they're guaranteed to just spin without ever falling over. Now, what I started with was a set of coasters. Now, these are just round wooden coasters. Whatever shape you use has to be completely round. Otherwise, they won't wobble. So you want to make sure that it's round. You can use an existing coaster. You can also use coasters that are made from cork, which are actually used underneath plants to keep the moisture away from the surface that they're sitting on. Or you can go to an art supply store and get little round plaques. Or at the very last, you can make your own by taking scrap pieces of wood and cutting out circles. The only thing that you're going to need to finish the project are tubes. Now, I've got some cigar tubes, which are these ones right here, which work perfectly. You can also use things like vanilla bean tubes, which are a little bit thinner and clear. Or alternately, you can use test tubes. Now, if you're having trouble sourcing test tubes, you can go online and find them. Or next time you're going in for a blood test, you can speak really, really nicely to the person who's drawing your blood, and maybe they'll give you a couple. Now, what you want to do is, once you've decided on what you're using for the body, the tube, you have to find a drill bit that's going to coincide with the right size. Now, you want to make your hole just a tiny bit smaller than your test tube. And the reason for that is you want to really jam it into the hole and make sure that you've got a nice tight fit, because what's going to happen if you don't is that your ring that's holding your tube upright will just fall down, and it won't weeble and it won't wobble and it won't do any of that stuff. So what you do after you've decided on the appropriate size of bit, now I like to use spade bits. They're relatively inexpensive, they're easy to find, and they do the job really quickly. These things bore out wood very fast. You can use a drill bit for this, or you can use a drill press, depending on how many you're doing, but a drill works perfectly fine. So once you've placed the appropriate bit into your drill bit, all you do is find the center of your coaster or whatever you happen to be using, find the very middle of it, drill it out, and make sure that your tube fits inside. Now, if you find that your tube is just a tiny bit too small for the hole, don't worry about it. All you need to do is flip it over and add a tiny, tiny little drop of glue gun. Now, this will still make your tube removable, but it'll really snug it up inside the coaster. You're going to want to protect your wood because you are watering this and you don't want your wood to get wet. And sometimes vivacious wobblers might just be a little too hard on this and send it flying, and you will get water all over the place. So what you want to do is protect your wood. You can use a wax, you can use a spray varathane in a matte or a shiny finish. Just make sure you put several coats on so that you've got a nice seal on it. Also, you can paint your wood, which is what I did with these. I used just an ordinary craft paint. It's water-based. If you want your wood grain to show through, just water down your craft paint. Use 1 part craft paint and 2 parts water to make it a more liquid consistency, and that way when you paint it on, you will see your wood grain through. So that's it for Wobblers. How easy was that? These Wobblers are so much fun. They're absolutely perfect for any credenza or buffet or dining room table, and they're even more fun outside because if you've got a little bit of wind happening or a little bit of a breeze, they'll wobble. And they'll just create a little bit of movement and action. They're just too much fun. Now remember, these Wobblers weeble, but they don't fall over.